Welcome back to the Joe Rogan Experience. Tonight, relax and enjoy some of the most fascinating and mind-bending stories from the podcast, the kind that'll make you think, then help you drift off to sleep.
Thanks for inviting me. This is awesome.
I've seen a bunch of videos online of you talking about space and your dream of being an astronaut as a young man. And what is it like just to see the Earth from above and to be? You lived up there for 95 days?
95 days. Which actually is kind of a bummer, to be honest with you, because you know this if you saw that video maybe. But
yeah.
The thing is, if you stay for 100 days, they give you a patch, right? And I'm at day 95, and the Space Shuttle Discovery shows up to bring me home, and Mark Kelly was the commander. He goes, "Garrett, it's time to hop in and come home." And I'm like, man, I just need 5 more days
to get that patch.
Can't we just go around a few more times or something? And didn't work.
It seems like 95 days should be enough, man. Give the man a patch.
Right. You know, how much does a patch cost?
What's the longest anybody stayed up there?
The longest for an American was Scott Kelly's, nearly a year in space, as longest in a row, basically. But it was a Russian that stayed up there for longer than a year, and he has the all-time record.
When they come back, what is 90 days like coming back? Because I've talked to people who've gone there. When they come back, their balance is all off, the equilibrium's all screwy.
You're kind of messed up, and your vestibular system is what's affected the most. At least that's what's most noticeable when you first get back. Actually, the first thing I noticed, let me back up, is how heavy things were again. You know, so I took off my helmet and I was holding it in my hand. And it felt like I was holding the anchor to the USS Nimitz, you know? It's like, I'm like, how am I ever going to brush my teeth? It'd be too arduous, you know?
Does your body severely weaken in 95 days?
Well, back in the day, back when I was going there, so that mission, my long-term mission was back in 2008. And back then, we were still losing bone density and muscle mass as we're going up there. You lost about 1% of bone every month. So I was about 3% low.
They don't anymore?
They don't anymore, because we found out we came up with better countermeasures to prevent that.
What are the countermeasures?
It's basically working out. And it's resistive exercise that does it for you, which we knew back when I was going. But the problem was we had we had this machine that was kind of a first generation of the workout machine, and it could do large reps but low load. So you're doing a lot of reps at low weight. And that helped, but what helps, it turns out, we found this out kind of by happenstance, but it turns out that high load, low reps works much better. And so we got this new machine that you could really crank it up to 11, and the guys now that are working out on that thing are coming home with no muscle or bone loss at all.
Wow, that's because what's the Canadian gentleman that we had on? Yes, Chris Hadfield. When Commander Hadfield came back, I believe he said it took him a whole year to recover.
Yeah, I mean, that was still still kind of in the early days. So I don't know which machine he used. He probably did use a new one. But overall, it does take, to get everything back, to get your full vestibular system back, your sense of balance, to get all your bone, all your muscle back to baseline. It took me a year to get all that back, too.
Wow.
It's kind of like rehabbing from a major sports injury.
That's got to be so strange. Your body just wants to shrivel up when you're up there because there's no gravity.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it's an adaptation, and the body is incredible. So what it's doing is it's realizing, hey, I don't have to carry my own weight anymore. So why do I need this big bulky skeleton? Right?
Wow.
It's like you're becoming kind of like a fish, where you're shedding all the bone density. Because you don't have to. Your body realizes I don't need it. It's like a fish in water. You know how fish have very slender bones.
That's an interesting way to look at it, like a fish.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we fight it by working out.
And how often do you have to work out? Every day?
Every day.
Every day. How often? How much time?
They schedule 2 hours. Now you're not on the machine for 2 hours, so it's also prepping. You're getting changed and cleaning up afterwards. But so you're working out a good hour every day.
What is it like to sweat in space?
It's weird because what happens is if you don't notice, like in the beginning, you don't even realize it, but it's all building up. And even without, if you have no hair to soak it up, it just builds up like this thin film of water on your head, like a coating of water. And you don't even notice it because it doesn't run down. and then somebody calls your name, and you're like, yeah, and then. It's like
Oh, that's crazy. I never even thought of that. So it just kind of floats off your body.
yeah, it's like a dog shaking itself, and it just goes everywhere. And
So if you have it on your arm, you can kind of just go whoosh, and the sweat will go flying.
your crewmates won't be too happy with you if you do this a lot, but yeah,
Wow. Oh, is there video of people doing that in space?
there's got to be.
There should be.
We've shot
right?
so much video. Somebody's got to have done that, but
So are you basically doing like compound movements like deadlifts and squats and things along those lines?
yeah, functional fitness kind of stuff. And you're focusing on certain areas. So the bone loss comes mostly from your legs because you're not loading. So basically,
Right.
our bones need a stimulus to regenerate, and it happens to us every day. So as you walk, as you go upstairs, that load that the bones feel, the compressive load, is telling the bone, "Hey, make some more." Now you take that away, and the bone stops making more, and that's the problem. People say, like, can't you just like calcium pills? But it's not a mineral deficiency.
It's just a load.
It's no load.
That's interesting. The body adapts so quickly.
Yeah.
That 90 days has such. And if you didn't do anything for 90 days at all, you'd be in real trouble, right?
Yeah, that's what's really kind of freaky is thinking about like, well, what if we don't fight this? Because all these adaptations you go through are not a problem when you're in space. It's only a problem if you want to come home,
Right.
right? Losing that bone, even like not using your vestibular organs anymore, your semicircular canals, your otolith organs, you're not making use of those for your balance. You're just going purely on the visual. What that does initially is it make you kind of sick. You get it's like being airsick or seasick. But once your body adapts, you're fine. So the question is like, what would we become if we didn't fight it? What if we just went with it and stayed up there?
Be like a water balloon. What would you become, right?
You become actually the place I think in science fiction that gets it the most correct is if you watch the Expanse. You ever watch that show?
No, I heard it's a really good show. I never got into it though.
It's good, and they get it right because they show people like these belters that live in partial gravity like their whole lives, and they have much more slender bones.
Oh.
And like they catch this like terrorist guy, and they want to torture him, and all they do is they make him stand up in gravity on Earth, and it's incredibly painful for him. And I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, that would probably be what would happen.
And it must take a long ass time to get everything back. If you went from Earth gravity to the space station and you lived up there for a year and didn't do anything about it and then came back to Earth, I mean, you'd basically be like, it would be hard to crawl, right?
Yeah, you would. All your if you don't try to fight it, the vestibular stuff would come back probably about the same rate, but you would be really hurting with your muscle atrophy and your bone. So you would lose a lot of your skeleton if you're up there for a year and did nothing. And you would also, all your muscles that you don't use, like in your legs and your postural muscles, so in your lower back, you're not using those anymore. So they would just like waste away to nothing. You'd be okay in your arms because you're doing everything. Everything you do is with your arms. That's how you move. That's how you get around is by pulling and pushing. But you don't. There's no walk-in. There's no stairs. There's nothing.
Does it affect the way you think at all?
Some people describe a kind of an issue with short-term memory. They call it like space brain. And
Boy, is that a small group of people that would understand what you're talking about there.
Yeah.
Oh, I got space brain. Bro, I got that too.
oh yeah. So it's something that I never really noticed it, but I don't know how much of that is real and how much is like you're freaking out because you're in space, right? So it's distracting and maybe you forget like what that number was you're supposed to remember. But like if you're really in the middle of something and you're all excited and you kind of can't remember somebody's phone number, it's kind of like that.
Oh, okay. So it's just, well, I would imagine that just being up there breathing that recirculated air has got to be odd, right?
Yeah. And it might stink, but I don't know. Because the other thing that happens is you have this big fluid shift. So right now, we have a lot of blood pooling up in our legs. And our heart, its most important job, of course, is to feed the brain oxygenated blood. And then when you take the gravity vector out of the picture, the heart sends too much up to the brain, and the stuff doesn't collect in our legs anymore, and it all shoots up here, and you get the shift of all that blood volume to your upper body, and your head gets all puffed up.
Whoa.
Yeah, like my first night in space, I went to sleep, which was kind of hard to do because you're in space. You don't want to go to sleep, right?
Yeah.
And on that first night, I woke up in the middle of the night, and I could have sworn I was standing on my head doing a headstand or a handstand. I'm like, why am I standing on my head in my sleep? This is strange, right? And then I looked out the window, I saw the Earth, I'm like, oh, that's right, I'm in space.
So all the blood was just kind of pooling in your head.
Yeah.
As if you're like hanging by gravity boots or something.
It feels exactly like that.
Wow.
And then after a day or two, you get used to it, and it doesn't bother you anymore, but you feel congested because you still have all this volume up here. So your sense of smell and your sense of taste are all deadened.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of like, so it's kind of like when you have a cold, and your sense of smell and your sense of taste are like not as strong. So it's like that all the time. That's why we have every hot sauce known to humankind up on the space station.
Oh, really?
We got like sriracha, we got Louisiana Cajun fire sauce and all whatever. We got like a whole stockpile of it because you pour that on everything so you can get some taste. Because otherwise everything tastes really bland.
Oh, wow. Now, what are you eating up there?
Oh, it's terrible.
Is it freeze-dried foods mostly, or?
Yeah. You don't go for the food, all right? This is not like a foodie holiday. It's like... so you got basically two choices. You have the American food, which is essentially MREs, like military freeze-dried, irradiated, infinite shelf life kind of stuff. And then the Russian food is also based on their military rations, but from submarines. And the Russian food actually tastes better, but the problem is one of presentation because it comes in cans. So you get these cans, and even though it tastes good, you open that can up and you look at it, and it's like, God, it looks like dog food.
It's like congealed and...
Yeah.
But it tastes better.
It tastes better, but it's just like so unappetizing when you open that can up and, it's just not...
What would happen if you brought fresh things up there? Would they rot at the same rate that they would rot in America?
Well, yeah. The thing is, we have no refrigeration. We didn't when I was there. They actually have a small refrigerator now, so you can't have anything that needs to be refrigerated. But you would usually, like, for the first couple of days, we'd take a bag of fresh food, and we took like sandwiches and fruits and vegetables and stuff. And then, because that's the last time you're going to have it. And after that, it's all going to be the stuff in the packets that you add water to.
So what changes have been made since you go from the old shuttle model of that technology to this SpaceX Dragon Crew thing?
Probably the single biggest change is we've gotten a lot better at electronics and software. So the vehicle is highly automated. And that's why we can fly like normal people that don't have like years and years of training. Because it's so much more smarter than the shuttle. The shuttle
You shouldn't say so much more smarter.
So much smarter.
But you're such a genius. You're not supposed to use language like that. You're a goddamn astronaut. So much more smarter?
Yeah, all right.
That sounds like something I would say. You got to talk better than that, bro.
Yeah, I know.
I'm sorry, though. Sorry to interrupt you.
That was math was always my thing. My verbal SATs weren't that spectacular, but so it's much more smarter.
And what about there was always an issue with the tiles, right? With the reentry tiles, and then that's what did Challenger, which one was
Columbia.
it? Columbia. Yeah. That's what did Columbia. And the new design, have they made advances in how that stuff is applied, or is it a different surface they use?
Yeah, so that is something that's also not really a worry anymore. The reason that Columbia took that damage was it was foam, like the big orange tank that's behind the space shuttle. It sticks up above the space shuttle, and some foam fell off of it. And we always had some foam shedding off the thing. And in the beginning, we took that very, very seriously as a major problem. But the thing is this concept of I'm gonna forget the name of it now. Well, let me just describe it. So you get away with something for so long that it's normalization of deviance. That's what it's called. So it's when you get away with something for so long that something that was a deviant thing or something that was bad is treated as a normal thing. And that's what happened to us. Because we knew that foam coming off could do damage to the space shuttle. And in the beginning, we tried really hard to do something about it, and we treated it very seriously, but it was hard. We couldn't really come up with an easy fix. In the meantime, we're flying, and nothing bad was happening. What was really happening is we were getting lucky. And then eventually a big piece came off, hit Columbia right in the wing, and it shattered, it made a big hole in the side of the wing, but nobody knew for sure. And they made a bad decision to not investigate it further, assumed it was okay, brought him home, and obviously you know what happened.
So it could be possible to fix something like that if they had known?
It could have been possible. We did a lot of things. Like when I flew, we had a lot of things in place to try to fix that. One, we got rid of a lot of the foam that was unnecessary. We tried to do things that stopped the foam. We also had ways of detecting it so that we would know. We had sensors in the wings. We added a maneuver we do when we fly up to the space station. We did like a pitch over where we took photographs of the heat shield to see if anything got hit. So at least we would know, and then we could shelter in place on the space station. So there's a lot of things we could do with the shuttle, but the thing about with Dragon and Starliner and the new vehicles is they sit on top. So there's any foam that comes off the rocket is not going to hit you. So problem solved. So that's one example of how we don't have to worry about that anymore. Now,
is the surface different? Do they still have the same kind of tiles?
The heat shield is.
Can I see what it looks like again? The heat shield is
the material on the side of the capsule, on the walls of the capsule, is made out of silica, so it's similar to the tiles, but the material that's in the heat shield itself is an ablative material. It means it kind of like as it heats up, it flakes off and it takes the heat away with it, and that's kind of more similar to like it was during Apollo. It's a much more advanced.
Wow! Look at that thing.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
Can we see that? Can we go there? Will they give us a tour?
I bet we can. I bet we might be able to pull that off.
Dude, I want to see a spaceship.
The guy you should have asked was my boss when he was here.
Yeah, we were talking about other shit.
I know.
Well, I got.
He's got the keys to the factory, but there she is on the launch pad.
Wow.
So that white stuff at the top on the capsule itself, that's kind of like the same material as the
Tiles?
as the tiles, but the heat shield on the bottom is called pica, phenolic impregnated carbon ablator. So it's a different, very high tech material that is really, really good at withstanding tremendous amounts of heat. That heat shield is way oversized. You could use that thing at least 10 times, and it really was originally designed for actually entries coming back from the moon when you're going much faster, and you build up a lot more heat when you hit the atmosphere than just coming back from the space station.
So ultimately, that's the goal for these things: to take people to the moon, to take people to Mars, to take people.
Well,
and reusable, right?
This is just a start. So reusability is key, and there's elements of this vehicle that are not reusable. That trunk you see, the cylinder below the capsule is not reusable. We throw that away. The second stage on the Falcon 9 we throw away, and Elon hates that. The Holy Grail is 100% reusable, but affordable reusability, where you don't have to spend like a gazillion dollars refurbishing it in between flights. And we're getting there. And the next vehicle is going to be the real. That's going to be the real. Hopefully, we will get that Holy Grail with this Starship that we're working on now.
So there's a top secret one that you can't talk about? Is that what it is? You seem hesitant.
Well, it's just, we got a lot of development going on, and it's not top secret. I mean, Elon went down and did a press conference in front of it in Texas not too long ago. And
showed what it looked like?
Yeah.
Is this it right here?
This is one of the tests. I think
it's called Starhopper?
So this was a beginning. This is a test bed to test the engine to make sure that we can.
Oh, that's fake.
That's real.
That's real?
That is
Come on.
That is not CGI.
Really? That's
real.
the thing?
That's the thing.
Whoa.
Now the real thing is going to look just like that. This is really testing the engine and the sensors and the electronics.
Look at what is the jet coming out of the bottom?
The bottom is a Raptor engine. It's burning liquid methane and liquid oxygen, and then those puffs at the top are cold gas thrusters just to keep it pointing the right way.
And so that's landing now.
Yeah.
My God, that's amazing.
Isn't that awesome?
That is amazing. Look how gently it lands.
Yeah.
Dude, that seems like science fiction.
I know. That's what I'm telling you. Like this thing, and I know that the guys up in Blue Origin at Jeff Bezos' company has got all kinds of incredible stuff on their drawing board. 2020 is the start, but it's just the start.
Show me that again. I need to see that again. I need to see that
Find
video
better
again.
pictures of it.
Oh, okay. There it is.
Yeah,
but I want to see that thing land again. That video of it landing is crazy.
I think I got lucky.
Did you?
Hold on.
It's so crazy though. The image, to see it gently come down and perfectly land. Like, look at that, man. That looks like some War of the Worlds type shit. Like, that's in a Tom Cruise movie, right?
Yeah.
Like if they were flying over Earth and they were starting to land. My God, that's amazing.
Yeah, I remember when Elon first talked about landing rockets on their tails, he was like, I think I remember him saying, yeah, we want to do it just like Buck Rogers. So,
Of course he said that.
So I'm working with Ron Moore on this TV show I'm working on now.
Wow, look at that thing.
And yeah, it's pretty awesome, huh?
For people who want to see this, Jamie, what is the name of the video? So people listening can go.
150-meter star hopper test.
150-meter star hopper test, more than 2,800,000 views.
SpaceX page.
2,700,000 views. That's amazing, man. 2,898. Wow. It's on the SpaceX page. So you can go and check that out. So that's next stage. That's next stage after this one.
So there's going to be a rocket, and then that thing is going to sit on top of it, or something like that thing. And then we're going to get both back. The rocket will land on its tail, and then this thing, after it goes off to the moon or even Mars, it'll come back and also land on its tail, and then we'll get both pieces. We'll get 100% back.
Wow.
And then we really got reusability gone.
One thing that I wanted to ask you about space is we always hear stuff about space junk, about satellites and just junk that's floating around the atmosphere. How much of a concern is that, and what could be done about that stuff?
It's a huge concern. It's a very, very big problem in certain orbits around the Earth, low Earth orbit, and also at the geostationary orbits. They're very. That's where you could put like communication satellites, and they stay over one spot of the Earth. Those are very polluted. There's a lot of junk, and it is very dangerous, and it's a real problem. It's hard to clean up. Over time, eventually, even at higher altitudes, there's still a little bit of atmosphere, like individual atoms. Eventually, that slows you down. Those collisions eventually slow you down. So eventually, it comes back, but it could take a long, long time.
Come back to Earth, you mean?
Yeah, it'll come back and it'll burn up. So the most important thing is don't make any more junk. That's like the best thing we can do. And we're getting much smarter. Like at SpaceX, we take our second stages and all of our NASA missions, and after it's accomplished its mission, we keep enough gas in the tank to burn the engine one more time and bring it back in one piece, so it doesn't blow up into smithereens and cause more junk. Whenever we do anti-satellite tests, though, China did one relatively recently, and we've done them in the past. Those are like the worst because they create giant clouds of junk, and we still have to live with that.
Is there any concepts on the table for how to take that stuff out?
There's some ideas of using lasers to laser the things and make subtle changes to their trajectories and orbits. But it's all the technical solutions are challenging and expensive. So I don't know of any one idea that's going to just solve this problem easily.
Because we've seen the map of the Earth and all the different satellites that orbit it now, and all the different pieces of junk that have been identified. It's crazy.
Yeah,
the amount of stuff, and it seems like nobody kind of thought it through. They just sort of did it and left the junk up there, and
that's what humans do, man. I mean, we've been dumping stuff in the oceans forever and not really giving much thought to it. And now we're finding giant gyres of plastic down, So, yeah, we tend to not really react until it's a really big problem. But it's a big problem. And when I did my first spacewalk, one of the things we had to do was we had to bring in this handle that we're going to use on a subsequent spacewalk. We call it a D handle. It's just basically a half-inch piece of aluminum around like this that you can attach to something and then carry things. So we had this big chunk of aluminum, and we brought it inside, and my spacewalk partner, Rick, looked at the thing when we came inside and saw a hole shot straight through it. It's like about 1 millimeter in diameter. It's really small, but it went right through this half-inch thick solid aluminum. And he looked at that, and he said, man, if that hit one of us. And he didn't have to finish that statement, because if this stuff is moving, generally speaking, about 10 kilometers per second, so that's like roughly 10 times as fast as a rifle bullet. So if something like that hits you, it could be a fleck of paint hitting you at that velocity. If it hits you in the suit, you're in a 100% oxygen environment, and you're just going to flame up. I mean, you're going to instantly combust. It's going to be really a bad day. So he didn't have to he said, when he said that, he didn't have to finish it. And we both looked at it, and then I looked at him and I said, yeah, but you're 6'4", so statistically, much more likely it's going to hit you.
More object.
And besides, I was kind of behind you most of the way out there.
But it'd probably go right through him and right through you, too.
It probably, yeah, might.
That's what's so crazy about it is there's so much of that stuff up there. I'm always wondering, like, why doesn't it hit the space station? What?
It does.
It does.
It's a couple of times I was inside the space station, I heard us take a hit.
Whoa.
So I heard the ping, but fortunately I didn't hear the ping followed by the psh.
Oh, the air leaving.
Yeah.
So that ping is probably something bouncing off something or going through something.
So the station has shielding. It's called Whipple shielding, and it's basically a piece of a wall, a thin piece of metal that stands off from the hull. So the thin piece of metal is never going to stop this thing. But when it hits at that hypervelocity, it breaks up into lots of little tiny pieces, and it's almost like a fluid at that point. It's like these like almost a cloud of dust. And then when it hits the hull, those individual pieces don't penetrate. So it just shatters it, and that works.
What if it hits that window?
It's hit the shuttle window. It has multiple panes and it's really, really strong. But we came home with big. It looks like when a rocket's kicked up and it takes.
Really?
Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah.
Wow.
That's a little scary.
Jesus Christ, a little?
Yeah.
What about micrometeors and things along those lines?
Well, depending on where you are. So in Earth orbit, there's much more of man-made junk than there are micrometeorites, but there are those too. When you get out away from Earth orbit, like if we're going to go back to the moon, then there's no more human-made junk, but those micrometeorites are still out there, and they can do the same kind of damage. But there's a lot fewer of them. The density of those things is a lot less than what you experience. So if you go to Mars, I'd worry about the radiation first, and then the micrometeorites are like down the list.
There seems so many things to think about.
Yeah,
we're always talking about how wrong they got the future in like Space 1999. Like those, remember that television show?
I like that show. I watch that all the time. Yeah,
but all those shows, like even I think Blade Runner was like now, right? Didn't we discuss this like last year, 2019? Like we got everything wrong in terms of what the timeline was.
The timeline is totally wrong, but I think that the overall direction is right in a lot of this stuff, and we'll get there. I really do believe that if we don't end up killing each other or have some horrible catastrophe like an asteroid hit us, we're going to end up living in space and have that kind of Star Trek future. I mean, I really think that's our destiny, as long as we don't screw it up.
Man, how far out are we looking at Star Trek?
Star Trek might take a while. Do we get like warp drive and all that kind of?
Couple hundred years.
And we got to find those dilithium crystals.
Captain, she's breaking up. Yeah, like how far do you think we are? Like if you had a wide timeline of like literally being able to go to another planet.
Well, going to Mars is something we could do.
No.
In a decade, if we really, really, really wanted to.
Elon keeps saying that.
I think he's right. I mean, it's not a question of technology. The big missing piece, I think, in understanding about what that would be like is the effect of radiation on the human body. There's engineering solutions we can come up with for that.
This is for the prolonged journey, the 6 month journey.
Once you start talking about so right now, like on the space station, I took a bigger radiation hit than I would have if I stayed at home. But
how much of a hit?
The amount of dose I took was not that much. It's like a tenth of a sievert or something. I mean, it's like it was pretty.
What's a sievert?
A sievert. If you take one sievert, then you're increasing your chance of getting cancer, depending on your age and gender, about a couple additional %.
Can you mitigate that with supplements? Like, is there iodine that you take or something along those lines?
There's some, maybe antioxidants. But I think that's not a panacea. That's not going to fix this problem. It could help maybe.
They say take iodine tablets, right? If you're exposed to radiation, isn't that like something that they recommend?
Yeah, for nuclear reactors or and all that. But I think that protects function of one of the organs. I can't remember, but it's not going to solve. That's not going to solve this problem. But you can shield yourself with anything that has hydrogen in it is a pretty good shield. So water is great. Like when I was on the space station, I put a big water jug around my head.
Really?
Yeah, just I figured it couldn't hurt. And then like liquid hydrogen or even plastic that's derived from hydrogen is pretty good shielding.
Okay, so you could have like conceivably a light plastic suit that you wear that could shield you from a lot of the radiation on the way to Mars?
There's actually a company in Israel that is teaming with NASA and is going to fly these like vests on to try to shield the people. You can also put it in the hull, or you can have just a storm shelter, because there's basically when we're on the space station, we're above all the atmosphere, but we're still below the magnetic field of the Earth. So we still enjoy a lot of protection from radiation. Once you go out of that and you go to the moon or to Mars, then you're basically hanging it out there. You're no longer protected by that, and so you're going to take either GCR, galactic cosmic radiation, which is just everywhere out there.
That sounds terrible.
It sounds bad, doesn't it?
GCR, galactic cosmic radiation. That sounds really bad.
Yeah. Those are those are ions up to iron, so heavy ions. That there aren't that many of them, but when they hit you, they can do a lot of damage. They have a lot of energy. They're accelerated to like near relativistic speed, so like near the speed of light. And then there's the solar. Then you got to worry about solar flares, SPEs, solar proton events, and those don't come. Those are very like unpredictable. Well, they're a little bit predictable with sunspot activity, but they come every once in a while, and they're giant spikes. They last a couple hours to a couple days. And they could totally fry you. They're even worse than
fuck.
Yeah.
So conceivably, we could send people to Mars, and halfway there, they get cooked.
Yeah.
So you have a 6-month window where you have to just roll the dice?
Well, so what you can do is you can have a storm shelter, right, where you put like a lot of this shielding. And then if you could detect the SPE, the GCR is there all the time, but the solar events, you can detect them coming, and you have enough warning time to get everybody into the storm shelter.
How much time do you have?
Usually when you first start seeing some of the proton radiation, then you have like an hour. So you got time.
So you're sitting in that thing going 48 minutes from now, it's coming.
Yeah, and you're just like hunkering down there, probably grabbing all the water bottles you can.
Wow.
Yeah.
And depending upon how big the ejection is, you don't know how long it's going to last.
Yeah. They could be at different magnitudes and different durations.
And it could just kill you even if you have the shielding.
I mean, if it's a really huge one, and we didn't really have any capability of defending from it when we did Apollo. And there was between 2 Apollo missions, there was one of these big ones.
Oh, boy.
And we just got lucky that it was in between. So
that seems crazy. Like, what a nutty roll of the dice.
Yeah, but again, there's and we keep getting smarter about it, and I think, for like right now, we can send you to Mars and bring you back, and probabilistically speaking, you'd probably have like an additional 4 or 5% chance of developing cancer over your lifetime, which is not like a death sentence,
It's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're getting better. And the thing about it, there's 2 things about it. One, we keep getting better technologies, better shielding. We can actually come up with there's ways you can do active shielding with magnetic. You can create your own magnetic field around the ship, and so it almost be like Star Trek with like a force field or shields or whatever. So there's ways that maybe we could do that. There's also the other thing that we don't know. We know exactly what radiation is out there. We don't know exactly what that radiation does to humans. The best we have to go on is like data from some of the atomic bomb survivors and radiation workers that work in like power plants and stuff to take some dose. But it's a different kind of radiation. So right now, the error bars are really big. So when we say like, 5% chance of cancer, that's taking a very conservative estimate. If we can find out what it really does to humans, maybe it's a lot more benign, and maybe we could sharpen that pencil and say, yeah, it's acceptable.
What if people come back smarter? What if it's like some fucking X-Men type shit?
Yeah, maybe you could like...
I mean, radiation is always bad in real life, but always good in comic books.
Yeah.
Right?
We wouldn't have Spider-Man if it weren't for
the Hulk, Spider-Man, there's so many superheroes that were involved in some sort of an accident. Wasn't Dr. Manhattan, wasn't that a thing with him as well?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. I think from the Watchmen, I think he became who he is because of an accident.
The document, I believe so.
Yeah.
And I was hoping that, I was up, I had my kids after I did that flight.
Uh-oh.
So I'm hoping that they would like one
Those
day.
are genius kids.
Yeah.
How old are your kids now?
I got a 9-year-old boy and a 2-year-old girl.
Notice anything unusual about them?
I did notice one day the 2-year-old girl was concentrating on her blocks and one of them started floating. But
Man, when the first day you actually got up there, was that the first time you had ever been in space?
On my first mission, it was the first time in space.
So your first view of the Earth from above.
Yeah, was that right there? Yeah.
What is that like?
Wow. Well, I didn't see it right away because I was in the middeck, the downstairs of the shuttle, and there's only one window down there, and it's in the corner. Okay, so it's in the hatch, and it's like the size of a dinner plate. And I was up there. You got a lot of work to do as soon as you get up there. So I'm working like crazy, and after about 30 minutes, I see this pale blue glow coming from that window, and I'm like, "That's the Earth." I should have a look at that. And I was super excited for this. So I wanted to be ready. So I paused, I closed my eyes, I meditated, call it whatever you want. I just got ready. And when I felt like I was ready, I floated up to that window and I opened up my eyes and I gazed out for the very first time at the Earth from space. And what that felt like is really, really hard to describe in words. But if I had to pick one word to describe what I was feeling at that moment, it would be meh.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Just meh?
Just meh. I mean, it was all right. It was pretty. It had a lot of like those earth colors, like blues and greens.
Right.
But man, we've all seen pictures of the Earth from space, okay? I mean, we got like HD video coming down from space now where it's just spectacular. You can see stuff in that video that you can't even see with your own eyes, like the aurora and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure like John Glenn and like Yuri Gagarin had no idea what to expect. And so when they looked out and they saw the Earth, they freaked out, and it was amazing. And it was beautiful, but it was underwhelming. I guess my expectations were so high.
Mm.
Like I felt like there should be like some heavenly choir and that we should all hold hands and sing Kumbaya,
Yeah, most people that have done it, they talk about this realization that this inescapable realization that we're all on this thing together and that all these boundaries of civilizations and cultures and countries and continents are all nonsense. We're really just all on this one thing together.
Yeah, they call that the overview effect. And a lot of guys come back and talk about that and they really feel it. And they talk about a world without borders and and it's a beautiful sentiment, and I don't want to knock that in any way,
but
because yeah, I mean, it's like really a world without borders. What do you expect to see? You expect to look down and see like dotted lines between all the countries? I guess it's inescapable when you look down and you see the planet and you realize that we're all in the same boat, But that didn't strike me as a sudden realization because I knew that before I went. You shouldn't have to go and strap into a rocket and blast off and look at the Earth and know that basically we're all human beings, I think. I mean, I think the things that unite us are so much stronger and more important than the crazy little things that divide us, like race or sex or nationality or politics or whatever. And at the end of the day, we have this one home, and we're all stuck here in together. So I had that strong knowledge before I went, and maybe that's why when I look down, I'm like, yeah, there it is. Okay, I get it. But it wasn't like all of a sudden like the shade was pulled back, and there was like suddenly a new realization about life.
Well, is there one place that's the spot on the space station to get the view? Where you really get a big window?
There's this huge window called the cupola. That wasn't there in my first mission, but it was there in my second mission. So I got to see it the second time.
They added a window?
Yeah. It's not just... It's like, let's get the Sawzall and put the...
Yeah, how do you add a window to the space station?
Yeah, you just, get the... No, they added a whole module, and the module had this cupola, which is like a...
Is that it right there? Is that what you're looking through?
That's exactly it. Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's pretty tight.
It's like it's a dome, And so you get the full 360 view, and it's spectacular.
Wow.
And we tell the guys that don't get to do a spacewalk that this view is just as good as doing a spacewalk.
But it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
But don't tell them because it makes them feel better.
They're going to listen.
Yeah.
What is a spacewalk like?
Oh, man. Well, first I got to tell you that the likelihood of me doing a spacewalk was like slim to none. When I first got there, they tell you that when you're interviewing to become an astronaut, to go talk to some of the other astronauts. And so I went in there, and we had this presentation about spacewalking, and it seemed like to be the ultimate experience, just an incredible thing. And I wanted to do it bad. So I went, I'm talking to this one astronaut who's a pretty tall guy. Those of you that can't tell from the podcast, I'm 5'4", okay? So I'm not like a real towering individual. I'm a little vertically challenged, I guess. And I'm talking to this real tall astronaut, and I said, just heard about the spacewalking. It sounds awesome. I've been living in California. I've been doing like some rock climbing, some scuba diving. Maybe that'd make me a good candidate to do a spacewalk. And this tall astronaut looked at me, like right in the eye, and he laughed in my face. He said, "What are you, 4 foot what?"
How rude.
I know. My first thought was, I thought astronauts were supposed to be polite, and this guy was not being nice. But he was actually just being brutally honest. It was kind of tough love, and he was like, "Listen, the suit is one size fits all. You're going to get in that thing, and it's going to swallow you up, and you're not going to be able to do anything. You're going to be useless. So this is impossible. Forget about it." So I was kind of pissed off, but I wasn't going to let this guy stop me, right? So I get there, I got the job, and I go down for my first training exercise, which was in this huge pool we got in Houston. And it's like, it's 100 feet wide, 200 feet long, 40 feet deep. And we could fit like most of the space station in there. And they get a crane that comes by, they put you in the suit, which weighs, something like 175 pounds and stuff. And then in addition, you're in it too. It picks you up and they plop you in the water and you float around, and it's kind of like being up in space, and that's how we train. So I get down there, it's my very first exercise, and I could tell in the first 5 minutes of this training exercise, that big tall astronaut that laughed in my face was right. I was failing. I was not doing well. I was screwing up. I was like, it just wasn't going well.
Why do they make a one-size-fits-all suit? It seems...
They have the ability to alter the arms and the legs a little bit, and they have it's actually 3 different size upper torsos. There's a medium, a large, and an extra large. But that's it. It's limited, and because it costs a lot of money to make different sizes, so there's only the gloves they can tailor, because that's actually the most important thing. But I'm getting my butt kicked, and I got a needs improvement, which is a NASA nice way of saying you failed, right? But I wasn't ready to give up. I went and I knew I was going to need help. So I talked to the people that make the suit, and they did some of those things. So they shortened up the arms. They fixed it up a little bit for me. And then I talked to the trainers, and we said, okay, yeah, we got to think outside the box here. If we give you the standard procedure, you're going to be at a disadvantage. But maybe we change your body positions. Instead of going straight onto the work site, maybe we come at the work site from the side so you get more reach that way. And we started working at it, and we got better and better. And the end of the story is that eventually I got the highest possible qualification to do the most complicated spacewalks we do, and I ended up doing 3 different spacewalks over the course of my career. And that big tall guy that laughed in my face, he didn't get to do any.
That's what you get for talking shit, sir. Look at you out there.
Yeah, that's me.
Now, what is that feeling like? Because it's got to feel insane when you're strapped to a space station that's floating around and you're just hanging by a cord.
Yeah. Well, you're holding on tight. And you do have that safety tether that you see there. And they can prepare you for everything except for the visual. So when you are in the pool, you're staring at the pool wall. When you get up there and you see the whole Earth below you, some people go out there and get a sense of fear of falling. But of course, if you let go, you're not going anywhere.
Right.
the space station's moving 17,500 miles an hour, but so are you. So it's kind of like doing a wing walking on an airplane, but with no air to blow you off the wing. So when you look at the space station, it's rock solid. But you look down, and some people get the fear of falling, and then they hold on real tight, which is a terrible, terrible mistake. Because we call it spacewalking, but you're not walking. You're doing everything with your arms.
So you can wear your arms out?
Exactly. Oh. So now if you're climbing and you get like kind of totally thrashed in your forearms, and now you get that claw hand and it's useless.
Yeah.
You can do that, and you got like 7.5 hours to go. And that's bad. So
you're out there for 7.5 hours?
Yeah.
What if you have to pee?
Diaper. Yeah.
Poop as well?
Try to avoid that.
You do your best?
As a scientist, I had to experiment, right?
Of course.
So during a training exercise, I waited till like the very end, just in case, and I let one go right before they pulled me out of the pool one day. And I resolved never, ever to do that again.
Was that number one or number two?
Number two.
Oh, boy.
Number one is no big deal.
Yeah, I save that project. I could have told you what was going to happen. That's disgusting. And you're doing it in the pool, too. You're not doing it in actual space.
Yeah.
To be one of the rare people that it's actually pooped in space would be very interesting.
That's we keep all these records. I don't know who's got that record. It's not me.
Diaper. Ugh,
yeah.
Boy. So you just have to let it go when you're up there.
Yeah.
And so what are you doing when you're out there? So if you're doing 7.5 hours worth of work,
you're basically doing maintenance. So it's kind of like being a mechanic or a technician. The way I describe it, but the suit is like so hard, it restricts everything you do because it's blown up to about 4 pounds per square inch, and so even just closing your fists takes work because the suit's like a balloon; it wants to stay like this. And so just closing your fingers takes effort. And over 7.5 hours, that gets really fatiguing. You're moving your arms, everything is, and the suit can only move, like you can't do this, right? You can do this maybe. So your ability to raise up your shoulders is really limited. So you're trying to do all this work, but you're working inside this suit. And I describe it as like it's like trying to change the oil in your car while wearing a medieval suit of armor. It's hard.
And what kind of maintenance are you doing on the outside of the spaceship?
We're cleaning the windows, getting the bugs off, and that's another. On this particular spacewalk, we were assembling a robot that we took up there, but we did other things like we put a new antenna on top of the space station. We swapped out a bunch of batteries that were getting old. Stuff like that.
You guys are gonna hate me for this.
What?
You know what I want? I want one example, Eddie, of why we should believe the Earth is flat. That's what I want.
Are you kidding me?
You son of a bitch!
I want it so bad, and I am high and drunk.
We can
And
talk
you
about
guys want
flat
it
Earth
too.
as long as it's a joke and it's funny.
I'm
Because
cool.
if it gets angry,
Dude,
then it's not fun.
I'm not married to that.
If
It's round.
if it's jokey,
I'm not married to it.
And I want you to
Jokey.
Convince me that it's flat.
There's no way I could do that, man.
God, really? There's not one example?
It takes about a year and a half of like one.
Year and a half? That's too much.
Very hard. The indoctrination's so strong. You look at your son's cartoons, it's all space. I look at all my shit, all the shit my son likes. His everything is there taking space.
I'm doing
Wars.
research on this currently.
Space.
I want to direct everyone to hashtag space is fake. 'Cause I've been doing research on
check
space
that
being
out.
fake.
Check
Is that
that
real?
out.
That's a real site?
Yeah, hashtag space is fake is something I'm investigating for my next hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm for legitimately looking deep into
Dude,
people
flat
that
Earth, there's
flat
so much
earthers
material
mock
there.
them.
They're
Flat
so-
Earth is like, what? Space
No,
is fake. What?
no.
You dumb
You flat
motherfucker.
earthers
No,
like
it's the
flat
same
earthers
thing.
walk
chill.
away
No,
from
it's the same thing.
Oh, okay.
You got it all wrong.
Is
Well,
everybody
Eddie,
that
I've
believes
got to
the flat-
think this is not
everybody-
very organized.
No, what I'm saying is
I got to think I
everybody that
couldn't have it
thinks-
all wrong.
No,
There's
everybody,
no way.
anybody that thinks the Earth is flat, they totally don't believe what we're taught about what's above us. So when
the
people
sun?
say space
Wait a
is
minute.
fake, they
What about the
mean-
sun?
They mean all the information we're getting. You're lying about that shit. That it's not that it doesn't exist. Of course it exists. We see
Right,
it.
of course.
But space is fake sounds ridiculous. Like
There's something
we're
up
looking
there.
at it and it's fake. That's ridiculous. That's
just
not what
the
it means. It
Truman
means
Show.
that all the information we got about all
We're
those
off.
lights in the sky.
Yeah, something
they're
else?
They're lying
NASA's
to
lying?
us. They're lying to us.
Why would NASA lie?
And there's a reason,
Well,
and
why
I can sit
wouldn't
here
they,
and tell you,
Brian?
but you guys don't want to hear it.
Hold
Couldn't
on.
they?
So I
We'll
don't
give
want
you-
to talk
can you
about
give
it.
us the Cliff Notes?
The Cliff Notes are, man.
Have you studied any kind of a?
He doesn't need to
from-
be. Let's hear just a few of it.
The goal has always been for the most powerful emperors is a one world government. They always wanted a one world government. All the Roman emperors, they try to figure out, they try to do different combinations. How about and they would fall, and a new emperor would come and go, you know what? I'm going to fucking rule
World
the world
domination, in other words.
Aztecs.
I'm not going to let my soldiers get married. That way we'll have a stronger army. They have different philosophies. Everyone believed different shit. But they all wanted a one world government. There's no way to have a fucking one world government. Nobody's into that shit.
Right.
Not even other rulers from small countries are like, one world government, that's going to put me out of a job. Fuck your one world government. People that don't know shit about politics don't want a one world government.
Sure.
There's no way you're going to sell a one world government. It's impossible. The only way to make a one world government work is to have the people embrace it. They have to want it because nobody wants it. So the trick is to make people want it, to embrace it. There's only one way.
I gotta pee.
There's only
Hold
one
on,
way.
Joe. This is very
You're gonna
important.
miss
I've
out
heard
on
this. I know this. I know
Oh,
this.
okay.
Go
I
on.
don't know
The
that.
only way, and they've known this forever. The Vatican knew this. The Vatican, the Pope wanted to rule the world. They all knew it, but they couldn't do it. They all knew it, but they knew one way, but there's no way how they're
What's
going to
the
pull it
one
off.
way, man?
The only way is if there was some extraterrestrial threat from up above us. That would be the only way to have everyone embrace the one world government. They all knew that for years.
But it didn't work
That's
so far.
the plan. They could never
It's a
make
shitty
it
plan,
work.
though.
They didn't have the technology 500 years ago. The Vatican knew about it. They wanted it. And you go to the Vatican, you see paintings of like
Have you been there?
UFOs with aliens in them. And back when I used to believe in UFOs, but before I figured out that UFOs they want us to believe in UFOs. They're preparing us for a fake alien invasion. That's always been the plan. A one world government. The only way to do it is to get us to embrace it. And the only way to embrace it is from an alien attack. Ronald Reagan talked about it many times at the UN, CFR. He talked about it because wouldn't it make, he looked at all the leaders of the nation, of the world, and said, wouldn't it make our lives easier if we just had some kind of extraterrestrial threat? He said that shit. He said that in front of the UN. He's trying to get everybody into
I don't think he ever said that,
believing.
but-
No, he said that many times. It's on video many
Ronald-
times.
Ronald Reagan?
Ronald
Ever
Reagan.
heard of him,
and
Brian? Ever heard
I've
of him?
listened
George
to a lot of
Bush
speeches.
was vice president.
Right.
He was talking about, and there's many videos of him saying, what lies before us. He's in front of the nation doing a State of the Union address, saying what lies before us is the opportunity to forge a new world order, an order. Because he's talking about like
Do you
it's
think that
time.
means the space is fake?
Yes.
No. When people ask me, why would they fake space? It's always been about a fake alien attack. You can't have a fake alien attack.
I've never heard a politician ever talk
You can't
about
have a fake alien
attack,
attack
though.
without space.
But I've never heard a politician
You
talk
have to have
about
space first. So they always, you know who promoted space more than anybody? Who wanted
Nazis.
Who wanted
Scientists.
Nazis?
Russians.
But before the Nazis, you know who wanted
Cavemen.
space?
Aztecs.
No, the Vatican.
Mayans.
The Vatican. They have all the biggest. They have all the astronomers. They're all Jesuit Vaticans. All of them. All the ones that are giving us this information about space. They all come from the Vatican. The Vatican has the most
But the
powerful
Vatican said
telescope.
that the
You
Earth-
know what the name of the
Wait a
Vatican
minute. The
telescope
Vatican
is?
doesn't have the most powerful
Yes,
telescope.
they do. You know what its name is?
What
too,
is
guys?
it called?
The most powerful telescope, the Vatican. And you know what name it is? I've
What?
done the research on YouTube.
on
I have the
YouTube.
links.
But
You know what the
have
name
the
of
links.
this? Do you know
Isn't
what the
the biggest
name
one in
of
Chile?
this? The most powerful telescope in the world. It's in the Vatican.
What
Do
is
you
it?
know the Lucifer?
Lucifer's
What?
dick balls.
Lucifer?
Lucifer's dick and balls?
I've never seen this fucking telescope.
Yeah, it's legit, dude. I think the biggest one's in Chile. I think they have to be in high
It's in
altitude.
the Vatican.
Yeah, I don't think it's in the Vatican.
You guys didn't. So when people ask me why would they fake all this shit?
Well, I don't think that's the biggest telescope,
This
Eddie.
is just a crazy theory.
It certainly is.
We're
Now,
talking
I've
a
never
theory.
heard-
It's
Here's the
funny.
thing,
It's a funny theory.
But Eddie, these new Chile very large array telescopes that they're creating are fucking gigantic, and they
This
take
guy's
over
no-
enormous pieces of land.
Listen, I was with you.
Google
I
the
was with
very
you.
large
Listen, I was with
array.
you. It's called the Very Large Telescope. I watched the documentary with you at your house. It was like 2001. And
Yeah,
It said in
think-
5 years,
Yeah.
there's a documentary about them putting together the Very Large Telescope in Chile, and they're talking about by the year 2005, we're going to have 3 telescopes linked with a computer to make us, we're going to see further into space than ever before. None of that shit came.
What are you talking about?
None
I
of
think-
that shit came.
Is that
They
up?
said,
Is the very very large array up yet? Nope.
It's a very
not up?
large telescope.
But I know they
all
have they have them in Hawaii. What's
Isn't
that?
it weird? Isn't it weird that every space documentary, all the series, I had them all, Joe had them all, we watch them all the time. I try to remember all the shit about a neutron star and a super hypernova. I was balls deep. Me and Joe
Hypernova.
were balls deep into space. And then
So
every
high.
now and then we'd watch this documentary after documentary. Morgan Freeman got the universe. We had
Yeah, that
all
shit
that
was
shit.
good.
I DVR'd all that shit. Anything that said space.
Will Smith
I was
has a new
fucking
one.
I thought I was better than people and shit because I knew so much about space. And every now and then I'd watch all that shit and wonder what. This is all cartoons.
Eddie, why not?
This is all
hold on a
cartoons.
second.
And then I go, okay, whatever. And then I keep watching. All DVDs on space are all CGI. There's nothing real. And everyone watches that. They believe it. The narration is all programming. What's above us and what we're on, we're being lied to. Once you go flat, you never go back. Listen,
This is a campaign.
Listen, they're lying to us about everything,
Yes.
dude.
Who is
it's
they,
not about.
though?
It's not about.
Who are
it's not
they,
about
Eddie?
belief.
They
Eddie,
are
here's the one
they.
thing. This is the one thing I want to say.
Okay.
It's like it's not that we believe something ridiculous and you don't believe it. We're gullible. We're gullible. We believe some weird shit about the flat earth. We believe some weird shit. You don't believe it, you're smart. It's not about that. It's about we actually don't know what we're on. We always say that. We don't know, but based on all the shit that we got by the mainstream, we don't believe that.
Here's what I
you
think.
believe that.
I
so
think-
it's not that we believe something crazy and you don't because you smell it, the bullshit.
But isn't there a
It's like
scientific-
you-
isn't there a
we look at
scientific
it different.
tradition?
We look
Eddie,
at it
that's
totally
what they
different.
told
We
you,
look at it as
Brian.
you believe
you use
all
this-
the
hold
shit
on,
from
Bubba,
NASA.
you
Hold
use-
on. And we don't
Let me
believe
finish.
any of that
Yeah,
shit.
but you use
so
that.
we don't
wait,
believe
wait,
that
Eddie,
shit.
you use that microphone. You use a cell phone, right?
It's science.
Hold on.
I believe in it.
That's science.
I believe in it.
Okay, why do
I
you believe in
it.
that? And why
because
don't
I
you
don't
believe-
need
but-
a study. I don't need to read something to verify.
But you benefit
It's not
from
scientism because
science.
I experience
You
it.
benefit from
I know
science
it.
every day.
I know. I love
listen,
science.
why wouldn't you
I
believe
wanna-
that
I
those-
think we
I
gotta
love
cut
science.
this off. It's 10 o'clock.
Man, we gotta
science.
get out of here.
It's
I
10
love
o'clock.
science.
Come see me in Vancouver at the Vogue Theater and in Salt Lake City at Wise Guys, March 1 and 2.
I love science too.
I
And,
love science. I don't want to fight. I want to laugh about it. I'm an idiot. I believe in flat Earth. I'm crazy. That's all you need to know.
Why is it that we think that the known universe is larger than we can observe?
Well, one point is that it's expanding, and we always see the same radiation out there, so the glow of the Big Bang. But there are some deeper reasons. That one, from the theory of inflation, the best way to explain the universe, the properties that we see, is that it's very much bigger than the piece we can see. So, for example, we measure space to be what's called flat. I don't even have to say what's called flat. It is flat. So if you imagine slices of space, let's imagine slices of them at different times. So you just slice the universe and say, there's a big sheet. It's like this table.
Okay, like a
There's a
table.
sheet of space, and there's another sheet, and another sheet. And it can have a geometry, right? It can be flat like a tabletop, or it could be curved like a sphere, or it could be curved in the opposite direction, sort of like a saddle or a bowl. And we can measure that. And when we measure it, we see it's absolutely flat. And that's a very unusual thing for it to be like. It requires, because what Einstein's theory says is that the shape of space, that the curvature of space is determined by the stuff that's in it. That's basically Einstein's theory of general relativity. Put stuff in space and it curves it and bends it and warps it and stretches it and so on. And what we find is that there's precisely the right amount of stuff in the universe to have a completely flat universe. And the explanation, the most favoured explanation for that is the universe is way bigger than the piece we can see. And so it's like looking at a piece of the Earth. If you look at a little 1 mile square of the Earth, right, then it's flat, right? You have to look at big distances, kind of order the radius of the Earth, or not, bigger than 1 kilometre anyway, or 1 mile, to see that actually you're on a curved surface. And that's one of the ideas about the universe and why it appears to be the way that it is, because it's way, way bigger. So we're just looking at a little piece, and that's why it looks flat. And that's one of the ideas.
Now, when you say flat, like that, my brain doesn't understand this. Because from our perspective, when you look up at the Milky Way, you see all these stars all over the place. So if you're saying flat, like how much height and what are you saying in terms of like the way to measure it?
The best way to think about it is not to think of 3 dimensions of space, because then we can't picture it.
Okay.
But you can think of 2, like this tabletop, and that's all right. We just forget the other one for now. And so you know what flat is on this table. I mean, you could define it. So you could say, for example, that if I draw a triangle on the top of the table, then all the angles add up to 180 degrees. So that actually defines flat. If you did that on the surface of the Earth with a big triangle, then the angles wouldn't add up to 180 degrees. Or you could draw a circle and say, what's pi? So pi is the ratio of the circumference of a circle to its diameter. That's only true on a flat surface. It's different if the surface is curved. So you can define flatness.
So when you're saying flatness, what is the height and what is the width? Like if you're talking about it as if it's a table, there must be some sort of there's a dimension to it, correct?
Oh yeah, there's a third dimension of space,
right.
But the same applies. It's just a generalization of geometry. Then, so you can the point is we can picture it in 2 dimensions, but you can draw. You can quite literally, you could imagine sending light beams out, and we do this measurement actually. We can look at the most distant light we can see, which is something called the cosmic microwave background radiation, which is if you imagine looking out. If you look at the Andromeda Galaxy, which we can see with the naked eye here in LA, you can see that. It's the most distant object you can see with the naked eye. And it's about 2 million light years away or so, which means the light took 2 million years to get to us. So it's a long way away, but it's very big. So as you look further out into the universe to more and more distant galaxies, you're looking further back in time, because you look at something that's 1 billion light years away, then the light took 1 billion years to get to us. So you see it as it was 1 billion years in the past. And we can actually look so far out that we can see almost back to 13.8 billion years ago, which is very close to the Big Bang. So we can look to light that began its journey before there were galaxies. And that's the oldest light in the universe, which is, by the way, one of the pieces of evidence when people say, I don't believe in the Big Bang. The answer is, well, you can see it. So it's just there. You can see it. We have pictures of it. That light, it turns out that there are sort of structures or ripples in that light, which we can use as a ruler. So quite literally, as a ruler on the sky. And then because that light's been traveling through the universe, we can see how that ruler has been distorted as the light has traveled through space. And so we can infer whether space is flat or curved or how it's warps, if you like, just from that measurement.
Yeah. And how long would you survive out there with no suit?
That's a good question.
Just holding your breath.
Well, you can't really hold your breath because as the pressure all goes down, the first thing you have to worry about is barotrauma. So like in your lungs and in your sinuses, and it's all going to like an overinflated balloon. So it's like if you try to hold your breath, that's a wrong thing to do because you're going to.
So you have to let the breath out.
Yeah.
You can't really do that for very long, though. Like the way people hold their breath underwater, they actually have breath in their lungs.
Yeah.
Right?
But they're not equalizing with the pressure as they go down, when they do those like free diving things, right? So if you're going to equalize, you're going to have to let the air out or it's going to just expand and it'll be extremely painful and hurt you. So you could do that, but then eventually you get to the point where the pressure gets so low that all the liquid in your tissues starts turning into gas, and it's called ebullition. And then you'll start getting this massive swelling, like your neck will puff up like that, and everything. You'll get grotesque swelling, and wherever that your blood is turning to gas, and all the liquids in your tissues are turning into gas. And it's not a good thing.
How long will that take before that starts happening?
That will start happening fairly quickly when you equalize, after you breathe out all that air. You can counteract it by having squeeze suits, like suits with mechanical counterpressure that squeeze it and hold it in, like a blood pressure cuff kind of pressure kind of thing. So you could do that.
Doesn't sound promising.
No. There's ways you can live through it, but it is. We've had this happen to people in vacuum chambers accidents, like industrial vacuum chambers, and one test chamber in NASA once had an accident, and we've momentarily subjected people to close to space vacuum, but very quickly got them back to pressure, and they were okay.
So all the bubbles just kind of like
Yeah,
go
it's like
down.
swell up and swell down.